cybersecurity was brand new. We came into the industry knowing basics because of my certifications, but I did not have many practical skills. Putting my theoretical skills into practice has been a really good experience.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cyber Revolution podcast. Thanks for joining us yet again. I'm Adam Hewitt, the CEO of Cyber Revolution, and today I'm joined by an alumni student of ours, Namratha. Namratha, how are you going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Now, for our regular listeners, you would be familiar with Namratha. She has been on the podcast before, back in April of this year. Namratha then told her story of how she went from being a stay-at-home mother, having an 8-year-long career break, and you had just landed your cybersecurity role as a cybersecurity analyst back in April, which I remember was an amazing time for us to celebrate then. What we're going to do now is talk a little bit about the past 8 months, talk about your journey, what you've learned, go into a little bit more detail into, I guess, a day in the life of a cybersecurity professional, which I know is what so many of our listeners and our students want to hear about. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of that. Okay, so before we do, I want to give our listeners, our new listeners of the podcast, a bit of an overview of who this podcast is for. So Cyber Revolution, we are Australia's only dedicated cybersecurity training and placement institute. We specialize in finding people their first job in cybersecurity. Over the years we've been doing this, we've found that we can help hundreds and hundreds of people, but I'd say 99% of people that we help, before they decide to join our program, they don't know anything about cybersecurity. They don't have any IT skills. They're a little bit nervous about how they can potentially change careers. What skills do they need to learn? What jobs are available to them? And so the point of this podcast is to try and answer all of those questions at mass, and really just educate people on what cybersecurity is and how you can land your first job in this industry. So if that resonates, if it sounds interesting, then this is the podcast for you. All right, let's get into it then, Namratha. So 8 months. You're 8 months into your role as a cybersecurity analyst. How has it been kickstarting your career after having an 8-year break of professional work? I was going to say after having an 8-year break, but being a stay-at-home mum is definitely not a break. I've recently had a kid, and I know you did not break the rule. You did not say that, obviously a stay-at-home mother is a break at all. It's the complete opposite, indeed. So you've had a professional break. What was that like after getting back into the industry?
First of all, I'm so glad you are considering the stay-at-home mom part as a role, because it's much more than what we do here in the office. Yeah. I think it's been close to 10 months now. Like, time flies. I started my cybersecurity role in Feb, in early February. Yeah.
I thought it was April. Okay, yeah. 10 months.
So it's been nothing short of amazing, to be honest. And I'm not sugarcoating this. It's like truly been really, really good. It's been an amazing learning experience, because I came into the industry. I had an IT background, yes, but cybersecurity was brand new to me. So I came into the industry knowing basics because of my certifications, but I did not have many practical skills. So getting into the industry, putting my theoretical skills into practice has been a really good experience.
Yeah, and so I guess it's exceeded your expectations by the sound of it.
Yeah, you can say that, yes.
And so I guess on that, within your first, 10 months now, it's been such a long journey. You had a big career break, 8 years. Were you nervous going into your new role?
Yes, definitely. I was. I mean, when I interviewed for this position, if I think about myself then and if I think about myself now, I see a huge difference. I was extremely nervous because I didn't know anything about it. Yes, I mean, you can have theoretical knowledge, but then getting into the industry and doing stuff when you're actually protecting the network from cyber attacks, when you get alerts and threats and then the way you face them, it's definitely different. I was nervous, and I think the team, the company, everything has definitely supported me the right way.
That's what I'm going to get into. And I want to get into all of the day-to-day stuff, and we're going to soon, about the attacks and the exciting stuff. But it's also important to talk about, I guess, for a lot of people that have had either a career break or their career change, they're going into a new skill set, into a new environment. It's important that they feel, everyone's going to be nervous. It's really important that they feel supported by the business. And this is how we go about finding more placement partners. For us, these placement partners have to have a culture of supporting newbies. They have to have a culture of, hey, if I don't know this, I'm going to be able to be comfortable to put my hand up and say, I need some help. And that support network is really, really, really important. Talk us through a little bit more detail about how you found that with the organization you're in regards to the training you received, the culture of the organization, etc.
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, I was not directly put into the field and said, okay, these are the threats. So, just go through them and see what you can do. I did receive a formal training initially. So we work with Palo Alto as well, the networking company. So I had a formal training with Palo Alto as well through the company. So and the team members also gave me KT sessions on how things are being done and what I am expected to do on a day-to-day basis, and the tools that we use. I was given training for that as well. I was given more than training. I would say I was given enough time to learn the tools, experience. Yeah, and I think even the time as well, because you can just give training to everybody, just a couple of videos or go through for a couple of days and then get them to work. But then giving one enough time to actually do things practically, make mistakes, learn from the mistakes. I think that is what was important, and I'm so grateful I was given all of that.
Yeah, and that real world experience is where you really learn the specific skill set. Obviously, our role within all of this is, and you went through this as well, is to get your CompTIA certifications. What they do is give you a really good base understanding, right? And we'll get into that a little bit further about how you be able to transfer those basic skills. So that gives you a base. Then it shows to an employer that you've invested into yourself, and that you've also got a good foundational skill set, right, to be able to build on. Then what we find is people go into a new organization. People might use different tools, different systems, work on different networks, and that organization then teaches the real specific training of what it's going to be like in the real world for that company and the tools that they use. So did you find that you had a little bit of confidence, or because of your CompTIA certifications and the baseline skill set that you did with us, could you implement that in the real world within the organization you were working with?
I would say the certifications were extremely, extremely helpful. See, the certifications give you a generic knowledge. They don't give you specific tool-based knowledge. But that generic knowledge did help me to get through my interviews as well. I'll let me be really honest. To get through interviews, you will need some theoretical knowledge. So the Network Plus and the A Plus is for your basics. If you're coming from a completely different industry, you will need the A Plus to get to know what IT is, like the hardware or the software part of it. The Network Plus and the Security Plus, I would say, is like really, really important. Really, really helpful, for sure.
I often say the CompTIA certifications that get you to the interview can win you the interview along with some of your transferable skills as well. And then the reason that we don't really teach the specific skill set is because every organization's a bit different. That's all you need to know, the basic stuff, and then you get into that actual workforce environment, and they can then train you on their specific tools as well. So that's amazing. How long did it take you to feel like comfortable in your role, or comfortable with, start to feel comfortable within using some of these tools?
I would say at least 2 to 3 months, Adam. I think, I joined in Feb and I had the first podcast in April. And I remember telling you that I'm still learning. Like, I go to the office and learn and come back. I think it took me at least 3 months to really be confident of what I'm doing, learn the tools, and do my day-to-day tasks without asking anybody about, is it right or is it wrong or how do I do it, kind of thing.
And you'll come with the support that you had and the colleagues that you have to be able to put your hand up and say, hey, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Can you help me out?
Yes, definitely. I think that also matters a lot, right? I mean, unless you get that help, you, as you said, you will be nervous. If you're somebody new to the industry, you wouldn't know what to do. And if you're just thrown into it, then it might get a bit tough. But yes, I got that support. I was always able to get back to my manager and tell her that.
And I don't think you're ever going to truly be I don't think anyone should anyway be comfortable within their role, because as you said, once you're comfortable, and if you just stay at that level, you're not really going to learn anything, get out of that.
That is true. That is true.
And you touched on it before, you're still learning. I speak to cybersecurity professionals who have been in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're still doing certifications and still upskilling. Well, it's a really important thing. Have you seen that now that you're in it? Some of your colleagues are still doing upskilling and still getting certified?
Yes, like at least it's a part of the culture in our organization to keep pushing ourselves to learn new things. They also send us to courses to get certified. And I'm seeing that in myself now. It's so good you raised this point. I'm getting a bit comfortable in the role. And just last week, I was telling my husband that maybe I should do a pen testing or a GRC kind of a certification and see where I go. I think it automatically comes to you when you know what you're doing day in and day out. You want to push yourself more and take the next step and see how to go about with it.
I think that's an amazing. I've obviously interviewed a lot of people that have gotten into the cybersecurity industry, and one of the number one trait I always say in someone who's going to excel is they get to that point where they've worked really hard, they've now gotten to the stage of their career, and then they start to understand everything, the day-to-day workings of your role as a cybersecurity analyst. And the moment they start feeling like, oh, I'm actually quite comfortable here, that comfort is an uncomfortable feeling to them, and they go, I actually need to learn and I need to change in order to get better. Otherwise, I'm going backwards, and that's it. It's a massive, massive trait, I think, in a cybersecurity professional. And so, on that, I guess lessons learned, or things that the lessons that you've learned over with your career so far. What would be the biggest lesson that you've learned within your 10 months in the industry?
I think the biggest lesson is to never underestimate anything. So we get alerts day in and day out throughout the day. So we have this concept of false positives and true positives in cybersecurity. So even if you have an alert that is staring at your face and saying that this is maybe a false alert, you never know until you get into the nitty-gritty of it. So I think the biggest thing I have learned is to never underestimate any sort of, even if it's a small little alert, you never know the origin of it. So yeah, never underestimate anything. We have the zero trust policy that cybersecurity enforces. I think that's the main thing. Yeah,
exactly. Complacency, right? I know potentially you could be towards the end of your day, end of your shift, and you're like, oh no, that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Yes.
And the complications there, the implications, right, of making that mistake can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's really that's a really important lesson. Okay, and what about the best thing about your new job? Like, what is it? What is the best thing about it?
That's tough. There are so many things, to be honest. But I think the best thing is the satisfaction, because when I thought of getting into the industry, I think the main thing was I saw cybersecurity was everywhere. It was trending. It still has a lot of scope. So that was the main reason. And my main intention was to get a job. But now that I'm here and I'm doing the actual work, I see the value of it. I see how important it is, that the job that we do. So I think I'm appreciating it much, much more now than I did like 2 years ago. Yeah.
So like job satisfaction and job fulfillment is probably the number one thing for you.
Yes.
Amazing. That's so cool. So you're actually kind of excited after the weekend. It's a Monday. You're excited to go in and actually, do the work.
Yeah, I mean, Monday blues still kick in sometimes, considering Melbourne weather. But yes, I don't think I have ever complained about my work. I mean, come back home and complain about things or something. No, that's never happened. Not even a single day in these 10 months.
Amazing. Now, what about the toughest thing?
I think the toughest thing has been commute to my office, Adam.
Yeah.
Because I stay in the western suburbs, and my office, I mean, we are shifting now, but my office was in the southeastern suburbs. So it was a 1.5 hour commute one day. So I'm sorry, I'm not giving you any technical answers here, but the toughest thing was the commute.
That will bring on the Monday blues, I guess, if you've got an hour and a half in the car in a rainy Melbourne morning.
Oh, it's not even the car. I used to take 3 trains.
Okay. And so you mentioned that's changing. So was your role in the office 5 days a week, or is it a hybrid role, or is it?
It's a hybrid role. So thankfully, it was just 2 days that I had to commute. But yeah, it's good. I mean, hybrid is good, definitely.
That's good. So the toughest thing is obviously getting to work. It's nothing to do with the day-to-day.
No, nothing. But yes, apart from that, if I really have to talk about the work in itself, I think the toughest thing was to when I say upskill, it's like more to prove myself and to the people around me that in spite of my longish break and in spite of being new to the industry, I had a point to prove. I still do, but when you're brand new, I did have a point to prove to myself as well that I can do this. So yeah, but when I do the things that are assigned to me, it gives me immense satisfaction as well. That yes, I can still do this.
Yeah, motivated to learn more and more and getting better and better. On that, I guess, the day-to-day, this is what I really wanted to talk about. Talk us through the typical day of a life of a cybersecurity analyst.
Okay. So our day.
Without going into too much detail, obviously, you probably won't be able to.
So a cybersecurity analyst's life is filled with alerts and emails. So a day typically starts with going through our emails. So our company is a managed service provider. We provide cybersecurity services and networking services to our customers. That would mean that we ensure that their networks are safe and free of any threats and alerts. So my day starts with looking through my emails. We do get thousands of alerts day in and day out. So go through those emails and check what are the alerts that need to be actioned immediately. So basically prioritize all of those alerts that have come through when we were sleeping. So yes, prioritize, and there are alerts that we will need to analyze and triage, go through the logs, see what might have triggered these alerts. There's a lot of analysis that takes place in the market.
Sounds like one big puzzle or one big problem-solving session.
Oh yes, definitely. Because as I said, sometimes one alert might lead to something else that might lead to something else. So as you dig deeper, you definitely uncover so much. That's something I really, really enjoy, to be honest.
Have you sorry to interrupt you here, but it just popped into my head. Have you seen a Netflix? It's actually, I think it's on Stan, a show called The Undeclared War.
No, I haven't. Maybe I should
watch it. It's about cybersecurity. I was having lunch with an ethical hacker who'd been in the industry for 30 years. He said in his whole career, it is the one show that he feels really depicts a day in the life of a cybersecurity professional, how they unpack all of the problems and go through that as a team as well. So it's called and for everyone listening, The Undeclared War, apparently on Stan. And I watched it as well. It's really, really good.
Oh, nice. Okay, maybe I should.
Yeah. If you can bear to bring some of your work home with you, it might not allow you to switch off, but yeah, it's a really good show. So on that, you're problem solving. You've got all these alerts. I'm assuming you're then working and communicating with your colleagues and your team around those. How to solve those?
Yes. So some of them would require a team effort, and some of them would require individual analysis. And then, depending on what the alerts are, we get back to our clients and customers. Sometimes we do not need to get back to them. We can close it from our end. Yeah, it depends. Totally depends on the alert that we get. So we need to keep a constant eye on the alerts that we get, and this can be like throughout the day. So once in the morning, sometimes in the middle of the day, then just before you close off for the day. And yes, so this is the main role for a cybersecurity analyst. But apart from that, we also handle multiple side projects like upgrading antivirus agents for our customers, or recently one of our customers moved from one antivirus to the other. So uh, like analyzing their policies, creating new policies, tuning our own alerts, and the most important and dreaded thing, documentation.
Okay. So that's more the prevention side of things. Try to prevent things from happening as opposed to the detection.
Definitely, yes. So is both of that, we do detect alerts as well because of the alert, because of the emails we get, and then we ensure that we try to prevent it from further alerts.
And so what happens typically with you've got an alert that comes through. I'm assuming sometimes it can take, not that long at all to solve. What about some of the, I guess, the tougher alerts that come through or the threats that come through? Can it take hours, days, weeks? How long does some of the harder ones take?
It takes days and weeks, yeah, depending on what the alert is and what the change might be to prevent those alerts. Because sometimes it would require some change in the customer location, which would also mean that we'll have to raise a change request for them and make sure that they're doing it in the off hours. So yes, there are cases where it has taken days. There are cases where it has taken 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, wow. I guess a little bit more on this, because I know that this is what our listeners are really interested in. You're in the front line when it comes to this cybersecurity, battle that we're in. Have you seen a massive increase, I guess, in attacks, or now that you're in it, can you see the importance of having a managed service provider or having an internal cybersecurity team? Because you see all of these attacks that are happening on small, medium, large businesses. Can you see that that's on the rise at the moment?
Yeah, I think so, because I think just last week I saw in the news that even Nissan Australia had a cyber attack. And I definitely feel that having a sweet team, even if it is a small one, having a cybersecurity team definitely would help prevent attacks. That's what I feel. I mean, it might seem like you are just paying money for nothing, but you never know when you're attacked, right? So you should always be prepared. And now that I am in the industry, as I told earlier, I value this profession much more, and I definitely feel that it is a necessity for every single company.
Very, very important work. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of businesses have the mindset of, it won't happen to me. But well, it does. That's when they react and then have to invest a lot more money to fix the problem. And so also on that, another way for us to solve this issue, and we talk about this a lot, is the need for more cybersecurity professionals to enter the industry. Can you see that as well now that you're, again, on the front line?
Yeah, definitely, Adam. I think the attacks are increasing as we go. We see so many other, I think sometime last month, Cisco also had a vulnerability. So it's not just about attacks. Now I get to know about vulnerabilities as well. So there are so many out there that definitely there is a lot of scope and need for more people in the industry.
Yep, for more professionals. Before we finish up, I just want to know a little bit more about, and this can be a little bit of a tougher question to answer. Where do you want to be within your career? You mentioned doing some pen testing, or you like doing vulnerability testing. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Because this, for me, is one of the most exciting things about cybersecurity. You can go from an entry level to a mid level to an advanced level role really, really quickly. We see it all the time. So what's your, I guess, long-term goal?
Okay, yeah, that is definitely a tough question. And 5 years is also a long time. I haven't thought about where I would be 5 years down the line, but I'm just taking 1 year at a time, to be honest. But pen testing is definitely in my mind, so maybe I would probably do certifications on that and see how I go with it. Learning is something that's constant anyway, so maybe 5 years down the line, I'm still thinking of what certification to do next.
I guess you've only, as you said, you've been in the industry for 10 months, and I'm assuming you've just been head down, nose to the grindstone, working really hard. Maybe with Christmas break, as you said, when we were off air before, you're going on a nice holiday for 6 weeks, it would be a good time to maybe reflect and look up and go, okay, what really love in the past 10 months. What potentially do I want to do in the next, 12, 24 months?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Amazing. Okay. And final question, what are your top 3 tips for someone who was in your position before you joined Cyber Revolution?
So if this is for somebody who was like me, as in who was on a career break, thinking that they need to get back into a career and they don't know what to do, and they're still doubting themselves about cybersecurity, then I would say it's never too late. Uh, Definitely give it a go. And I would say talking to people like you who can help get knowledge about how it is in the cybersecurity industry, that would definitely help. So I would say talk to people who are in the industry, uh, get more information, maybe go through videos. I mean, YouTube has generic videos about cybersecurity. Uh, so get information and see if you are really interested in the field, if you're up for it. And then, yeah, if you are, I would also say certifications. Many people, even to this date, they do not think much about certifications, but they're the best and fastest way to upskill oneself. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I agree completely, right? Certificates, no, like a lot of people, some people do want to do them. They absolutely love learning and like putting the work in, but like it does take time and it does take effort and it is a hard thing to do. It's not really, really easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. If you can do the hard stuff and work like you did and get your certificates, it's going to put you above your job when you're applying for a role, your other applicants as well. So it's really, really important. And the second thing you mentioned, we hear it all the time, is it's do your research. Do your own research, but then have a chat to whether it's us or whoever it might be, but one of our career consultants, and then get them to ask questions. It's definitely not too late. There's going to be a cybersecurity skill shortage till 2032. So it's a long time still. And we all know cyber's not going anywhere. So I think they're amazing tips. But the biggest thing I think why this episode's going to be one of our most listened to is actually being able to peel back the cover on what a day in the life of a cyber expert actually is like. I know that's been something that our listeners have really wanted to. So thank you so much, Namratha, for taking the time today and sharing. I'm really happy for you and I'm proud of you. I remember having those conversations with you, over a year ago now, well over a year now ago, when you started our program and you started studying. It was the middle of COVID, had your kids, you were homeschooling and you were studying and you're in Melbourne with the lockdowns. It was extremely tough, right?
It was definitely, yes. But
And
now if I look back, it has all been well worth it.
Yeah, of course, it's all worth it because it's the uncomfortable stuff and it was the hard stuff, and now you're reaping the rewards and you deserve it more than anyone. So I just wanted to say I'm really, really proud of you, and I'm happy that you're happy with your career and you've got a long, exciting career ahead of you. I'll get you back on the podcast whenever you want. And you can
thanks, Aaron. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be back here.
I really enjoy the break, enjoy time over in India, and I think we can catch up in the new year.
Definitely. Yes.
Thanks, Namratha. All right, guys, thanks for listening. If you did like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe. You can actually, I've never mentioned this before, but you can leave a 5-star review on all of the platforms. Let other people know about the podcast who you think might be interested. If you want to know more about our job placement program, all you have to do is head to cyberrevolution.com.au. You can leave your details there and someone from the team will be in touch. Thanks for listening.